And we're back. What's your story with you?
Hey, what's going on?
So today we're joined by Brent Mukai. Said it right?
Yeah, you said it right. Perfect.
Nailed it. How about you introduce yourself, buddy?
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Brent Mukai, Brentmukai. I don't know why I spelled it. That's a stupid way to start. Uh,
Is there a good way to
bro,
start?
You know what? No,
there's
no,
a
man. I
yeah.
think I'm gonna start spelling my name like
I'll
when
say
I get introduced. You know,
Tom.
that's cool. That's fucking. I like that actually. Shit.
I'll say this: there's not a right way to start, but there's a lot of ways that are less stupid to start than what I just did. Let's take two. Take two. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Brent Mukai. Just the coolest dude around. I want to take that over. Let's do this again. Take three. All right. Hi, everyone. Hello. My name is Brent Mukai. I am a voice actor. I do improv comedy. I am a comedian. I come from the world of entertainment. And I don't know. I'm a handsome dude. That's all you need to know, really.
There you go.
Was that good?
What was that?
That was
It was like
amazing.
two truths and a lie.
Out of 10. You're right. I'm not really an entertainer. You got me.
All right, so you actually fair play to you for getting to get a job in it, like, but you were in Ratchet and Clank recently. Um, Obviously that game kind of like exploded since it's come out. Dude, what was that like?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm living it right now. It's been incredible. It's been absolutely incredible. I've never been on a game or anything that was as high profile as Ratchet and Clank. Like we're talking like an over 20-year franchise, right? Is that right? I believe it's over 20 years old. It's nuts to be like a character that has a name and lines and like cutscenes, and I get to talk with Ratchet and Rivet and all these other characters. Sorry, spoiler alert. But yeah,
Spoiler: he talks to the main character.
I talk to him. It's absolutely incredible. Like I keep seeing reviews and everybody's like, this might be game of the year, and I'm just like sitting on the sidelines going, okay, well that would be really kick ass to be like, yeah, I was a part of a game of the year. Put that on my Twitter profile or whatever, and I don't know. It's fun to watch people play it. I don't have a PS5. I can't get my hands on a PS5, so it's a little frustrating that I can't play the game that I'm in. But it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to like look for the game and different social media aspects, and people are like, oh yeah, this game's cool. And some people call my character out by name and are like, who's your favorite I was on a subreddit just looking at it because I'm just enjoying the process of being in this game and seeing what people are saying about it. And somebody was like, who's your favorite character? Mine is Gary. And I was like, oh, me, that's my character. Cool. So I commented back, and just all kinds of fun stuff. It's I'm living the dream right now. I'm living the dream. What more could you dream of than as a voice actor than being in a hit game that everybody's really loving?
A PS5.
Yeah, that is exactly what I would want.
Man,
Dude, Thomas,
I remember
you got a
trying to
story
get
about that.
mine. Man, I was in a queue in an online virtual queue for the guts of like 2 hours before I got mine. It is tough over here. I'd like it sounds pretty tough over there as well. I'd say with like the numbers being much larger in the US, man, but over here we were still pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, I
Terrible.
mean, all 1,000 of you in Ireland probably want a
Yeah, man.
PS5,
Yeah.
right? Like it's
You know,
nuts.
all my cousins got one and suddenly they were all sold out.
Yeah, we bought the only 8 they sent to Ireland,
Yeah.
so we
They
have to
said,
wait
wait,
another
do
day.
you guys have more people than 8?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm shameful in that way. I got an Xbox. I say
Yeah.
now, the second I turned it on, I regretted buying it.
Yeah.
No, not even kidding. As the second it was on, I was like, this is a joke. It was like
Why?
it
Just
was like
the menu screen was bad or something?
It looked the exact same, like in the user interface as the Xbox One. It
Oh.
just was. It had more space. You could load into games faster, and I don't know. It looked like a mini fridge. Like it was such a headache. Because
Yeah.
with PS5, like you're getting VR and stuff like that. Like that's awesome. You know, they let you stream directly to YouTube. We don't get to do it on Xbox. It's like I don't even know if Twitch is still there. Is it Mixer? Is what they let you stream on now? It's just terrible.
I thought Mixer shut down.
Dude,
Yeah,
you know how long
that's
it's been
the
since
only
I touched
place
that
they
thing.
let you. It's the only place they let you stream to, though. So
That's how
it's
bad
a
it is.
conundrum.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. You're probably better off with PS5.
What do you have now,
Why
Brent?
did
Do you have a PlayStation 4 at the
I'm a
moment?
PlayStation 4. I was an Xbox guy.
Yeah.
I was pro Xbox since the original Xbox. I was a Nintendo kid, and then I turned into an Xbox teen because that was like, Gears of War, get out of here. And then Xbox 360 and all of the Halo and all of it, and then it just was like, it seems like PlayStation's the way to go. So I just followed my gut. This PlayStation is the first PlayStation I've ever owned. I never owned 1, 2, or 3, so it's just like I'm loving it though. Fun games and all of it, but man, I want that PS5 real bad.
That's like damn near identical how I started off. I started off with a Nintendo DS playing
Yeah.
Mario Kart and shit, and then I went over to the Wii, like Nintendo Wii, Smash Bros. Then I had my
Yeah.
Xbox 360, Halo, I had FIFA, all that shit, and then PS4. Just one day I was like, damn, I want a PS4. All my friends got a PS4.
Something about the PS4, they just really sold the shit out of it. Like it was like you'd be like, I don't know what the marketing was, but it seemed like everybody was dumping on the Xbox One, and then everyone was like praising the high heaven the PS4. So it was like, yeah, let's do it.
I don't know. They're winning every year. Xbox dead in the water. Like it's so bad. I won't touch it. I won't go near it.
I heard that new Halo game though looks pretty badass.
Looks nice.
Yeah,
that's it.
Reserve
it
judgment.
don't really got nothing on the exclusives for PlayStation. I'm talking God of War,
Well,
Spider-Man.
In fairness, now we might be getting like Bethesda's exclusive or like something exclusive when it comes to Bethesda. So the next like Elder Scrolls game could be just Xbox.
That's a game changer.
That
was
was
a big
seriously.
game changer then.
Yeah, that's like even bigger than when God of War like refused to go onto any other platform.
Yeah, I feel like they need a new franchise. I feel like Xbox needs a new thing to like let's get everybody into it, you know?
Okay, so think of Halo as like a cow that's been milked. Okay? In the first year it was okay. You know, a couple games down the line, you know, you get into like a Destiny, it was on its last legs. Right now it looks like a shriveled up plastic bag and they're looking for drip drops like it's seriously, it's gone.
Yeah, I haven't played a Gears of War since like 2, so it's like I don't. They need something else. They need something new. That's what I think. As somebody who's never worked like as a video game developer, that is my expert advice to you, Bill Gates. Get your shit together. Get that new. I don't know what's the new game called? Fushunzo. Let's get that going, huh?
And actually, you have a pretty good perspective because you're coming at it from like the voice acting point of view. Like, is there any? I don't know. How would you change it in any way, like Halo as a franchise, or would you just kind of?
The one thing I'd change is I'd put myself in all of them. That is,
oh yeah,
yes,
main actor,
Master Chief.
It would just drastically improve it.
The main 4 actors, I think.
Master
you know what,
Chief,
man? Cortana. The sergeant.
You as Cortana, but like mocapping to look like yourself as well.
Yeah. Chief, fuck, dude. I don't know about this. That seems like a bad idea.
Dude,
Cortana, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, they just let me riff it and improvise it. I'd love that. I hope you're listening, Bungie, or whoever studio does Halo now.
Man, that's so insanely stupid having
so...
Cortana as like a stand-up comedian, like Master Chief's head. Like, oh shit, I don't think we should do that, man. I remember last time you tried that, you fucking died and we respawned. You know, remember that?
Yeah, you would.
AI who talks massive shit to you. I would love to watch that game. Dude. I would love to be in that. I would love to be the AI that talks shit to you. That'd be so fun.
When you grew up playing games, did you ever think you'd get into them? As an
no, no way. Are you kidding me? No way. I grew up in Hawaii, man. Like in Hawaii, it is so nice. It is wonderful. I wanted to do like comedy stuff, but it just felt like there was nothing. There was like I couldn't get into anything there. There were like a few little things, but that was about it. And like I don't know, playing video games. I grew up in the 90s, brah. Like a lot of video games didn't have voice acting back then. I didn't even think about voice acting in any of that stuff. I thought about Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, like, oh, cartoons and like, this anime stuff, but like video games, it was just like Resident Evil and somebody being like, "Hey, stop. What? I'm going to shoot you now." Like, like it wasn't taken too seriously. So, seeing what it's grown into, I was like, when I saw Halo and when I saw Gears of War and all this stuff, I was like, "Damn, this is cool. This is really good." Did I ever think I would ever be in those games? No way. I never thought for a second. But here we are, So dreams come true.
Yeah,
Dreams come true.
that's not a bad one too. Yeah, I have to say I agree with you there. The quality of voice acting has definitely changed.
Yes.
Yeah,
With all credit to the old actors who used to do it, like, but seriously, like even if you look back, I don't know, as I've something weird going on with my YouTube feed. The algorithm kicks you every now and then. You get this kind of weird videos.
Yeah.
I've recently hit upon like old school Transformers, and to hear like the old Starscream, voice actor, is like an example of how bad it once was. This guy,
it's crazy how much it's evolved. It's
then,
like that's in the cartoon world and all of it, like, man, it's evolved. Like you could get away with pretty much as long as you were saying the words back then, like it was a thing, because you didn't have I think people just didn't take it as seriously like way back, but then you have stuff like Looney Tunes that's like, oh, this is like premium stuff, so yeah, it's a mixed bag going back in time.
it's getting better. Like we have the likes of Troy Baker now, and that guy just kills. Like, there's some voice actors, and like it's them. Like they'll always basically do their own voice.
Yeah.
James C. Burns, the guy who plays Woods. Who else has like a really recognizable voice? Thomas, we've had on Bruce Thomas.
Bruce, yeah.
They have a very like small like field of what that they could play, which is just kind of like tough, old kind of gravelly guys. But man, you put Troy Baker in a game, or Steve Blum, or whatever, dude, I can never tell it's them until like I'm going through IMDb seeing, oh, who did this character? Huh? Or Neil Newburn too. He's yeah. I know some people have a lot more range, but some are kind of just doing whatever.
It's kind of funny. It's interesting because a lot of times people might have range, but they just never get a chance to show it off because all they get hired for again and again is like the same thing. And then after a while, you keep seeing those names. So then you're like, oh, let's get that guy to play this guy for this thing. And then you get like, and then your agent only sends you auditions for like this one very specific thing. And so it's kind of a curse to like have a thing, but also it's not that much of a curse because you're always working all the time because people want you back again and again for that thing. But then, the artist in you and the ego in you is just like, I can do other things too, though. Don't you understand? I did Shakespeare in college, so it's, there's that balance too. I bet there's a ton of people that have a way more range than we know. It's just that they don't, you don't always get a chance to showcase it, which is kind of the sad part, I guess.
I remember the big one I always like to bring up with that is when Bruce Willis was hired to do Die Hard because he had been predominantly a comedy actor, and everyone said that Die Hard was going to be trash and horrible, and next thing you know, it's Die Hard, bitch. Like ain't nobody fucking making fun of Bruce Willis now.
Yeah, Michael Keaton's Batman.
Oh,
like, yeah. It was just like, yeah, isn't that the guy that was what? He's just comedic, right? He's Beetlejuice, right? Nope, he's Batman now.
Yeah, you have to be like the toughest guy in the world, and you got to be jacked too if you want to like make fun of Bruce Willis. Like you seriously want to be like Chris Hemsworth on testosterone and steroids. Yeah, like that's a tough guy. Like I say in his day-to-day life, he's pretty tough as well. Like there's some actors.
He looks like a scrappy guy.
Yeah, there's some actors who've like done whatever things, like they've stopped shootings or they've, they bet up a guy who was harassing someone, I'd say he's done all of them. I say he's a legit
Yeah.
superhero. He's a tough dude. But going back to the range, where do you think you fall on that? Because I've only seen you in Ratchet and Clank and Paladins. Like when I was
Uh,
checking you out, this is all
yeah.
I knew you from. I know you've done
Well,
anime as well, like, but
yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I've been very fortunate so far in that I have not been super duper like like cornered in terms of my range. Because Gary is like, oh, I'm intelligent and I'm fun and I'm all of this, right? And it's like it doesn't sound quite like I don't know that anyone who played the game doesn't know me and then sees Gary would be like, oh yeah, that's how that guy sounds. So that's kind of cool that one of my breakout roles is something that is not like super me-ish, right? And then on the flip side of it, I play a lot of like asshole type characters because I think I just have that gritty kind of asshole sound. So I play a lot of assholes with a heart of gold. I'm on a show right now called Full Dive, which is an anime, and I get to play this sloppy like judo master guy with bad gout, and it's just like a comedic character, so it's dumb and fun and like I love it. And then I play like, just like really deep guys like this that are like cool, and the gamut of like cool guys also. And then I get to play I'm playing a like a fancy man on a show called Shadow's House right now. And the director, funny enough, was like, "Oh, you play this like fancy character a lot, huh? Is that sort of like your archetype?" I'm like, "No, this is the first time that I get to play like a fancy guy. So this is really nice. This is really cool." I don't know. I've been very fortunate that a lot of people see my range, and a lot of people have taken my range and been like, "Hey, play these additional voices, play these, background characters, because you can be like, 8 or 9 different characters." Um, in the movie The Legend of Hay, that's what I did. I got to be like 8 or 9 different characters, but I had like a main character that I was playing along with all of these other guys that a lot of people probably don't even know was all me. So um there's a gift and a curse to that too, though, because it's like my ego's like, hell yeah, you can do it all, man, you can do so many things. But then at the same time, it's like, well, when people are thinking of like, I need this specific type of guy, my name probably doesn't come up in that conversation a lot, because it's, what a lot of actors tell other actors to do is like, find your lane, find your like archetype, and then work the hell out of that archetype, and then perhaps later on you can expand that archetype. But I'm sort of out here just playing a bunch of different things, and I don't know if that means I'm just gonna get cast as additional voices for everything. It hasn't happened yet. I don't know, I'm still very early in my career. And thankfully there's been a lot of cool stuff that's been happening, so I'm just riding the wave. I'm not thinking too hard about any of that, like, because I can't help it. There's nothing I can help in that. I can't help how a casting director sees me. Hopefully just different casting directors see me as different things. That would be kind of the ultimate goal, so then I get to play all these different things and just have different relationships with different people.
I like
yeah,
the way you say that you can't help it, and that's a lot of thing that I think you should tell that to like people that always ask people, like ask actors, like, do you think I can make it? And you got to tell people, you got to really fucking want it in that industry, man, because it gets tough when you get a lot of no's, it's a lot of rejection. It's shit.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a certain type of person, it
Mm.
really takes a person. Somebody asked me in like a Q&A thing that I did, like, oh, what do you do when you haven't booked stuff in a while, or like you haven't like blah blah blah, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't focus on what I don't book. There's too much shit out there. Like I'm putting so much work into all the auditions that I'm doing. I've forgotten so many more auditions than I've actually done. Like all I can focus on is what I can do. So why worry about anything else? All the booking stuff, that's not up to me. So why worry about it? I'm just going to keep auditioning and having fun doing that. If I get booked, that's like an extra bonus. My favorite was Sam Jackson. He said, "My job isn't to act as an actor. My job is to audition well, and acting is a benefit of my actual job, which is just auditioning well. That is the treat I get by doing what I do. So I think of it like that.
Probably a good way to think of it.
Yeah.
I used to normally I like what you brought up there. Like you don't focus on what you
Okay.
didn't book. I used to
Mhm.
ask it a fair bit. I think I asked it all the time when I had voice actor on, or actors in general. It's a fairly flawed question. Like, what's the biggest role you've been turned down for, or stuff like that. And you know,
I don't know,
in
man.
hearing you saying that, I realize how shit a question that is.
That's really funny. I mean, it's like, I don't know. Because, and here's the deal. Like, I can think that I got turned down for something and still have, like, but they're still just deciding on it. And so then I get hired for it next month, after a year of waiting on it. There's so many things that, like, I'll book and I'll be like, how long ago was that?
Yeah.
Wow, damn, I thought that I just didn't book that, I guess, or I just forgot all about that. A ton of times, dude, I'm really good at just forgetting about a lot of auditions. Like, some of them are like, I love this show. Oh, God, and that's its own curse, because then how do I not fuck it up just by overthinking it, But
Especially
so
with anime fans. They
yeah.
go ham.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean they go ham?
Dude, we've had some people on before
Yeah.
who just were in anime,
Yeah.
but we didn't talk about it. And by God, did we find out that they were in that anime. Like, we talk people because they were like, they were like Call of Duty voice actors or something that we liked. Like, for example, was it Chris J. Alex?
Yeah, I was about to say it's Chris.
Yeah, Chris J. Alex. He was in what's it, One Punch Man, and we only covered like him in Call of Duty. And oh boy, did I find out about that. Because with advertising to like Call of Duty fans, you gotta go find them. With anime fans, they're gonna find you the second it's up. Because I feel like anime fans are like way more into what they're watching. I don't know what it is.
That fandom is huge. I mean, it is a humongous fandom, and people are very dedicated and very, very into it. And I mean, I love anime. I'll say that. Like, I absolutely love anime. So like, I'll watch stuff that I'm not in and just like enjoy it. And then the fact that I get to work in it is a huge blessing. Like, I'm so happy. I'm just so happy. What the hell do I have to complain about? Whenever I think to myself, I'm having like a shitty day or whatever, I just turn it around and I'm like, man, what the fuck are you complaining about? You used to be broke as hell doing bullshit, for so long. Like, this is the life. So I keep myself positive by negatively attacking myself constantly.
Well, if it works for you, power to you. But yeah, like I know you're in Genshin Impact, but like I know nothing about that, so like I'd really butcher it if I tried to talk about it. But
it's all right. I have not played it either. I know that's like a cardinal sin, but like, I haven't played it yet. I have access to it. It just hasn't grabbed me yet. I don't know, something about the whole paying experience, like mobile games. I'm not super into.
do you want to know how little I know about it? I thought it was a
little?
fucking show.
Oh, okay.
Up until this exact moment, I thought it was a show.
Well, then you deserve to get all the hate you'll get for that from the Genshin Impact community. It's huge. Get him.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
No.
Come on. Send your friends too. Make sure they subscribe.
Do your worst. Unlike the video. Like the video. I don't care.
See that big red button? Oh no. Don't press it. Oh jeez. That's so dumb.
Yeah,
but yeah, like it must be weird must be weird as well. Like watching anime, but then like being in ones you might watch. Has that happened to you yet?
Yes, that has happened. Well,
that's a rare experience.
Yes and no, because I haven't. There's one that I watched, but I wasn't like fully caught up on in Fire Force. and I got to be in Fire Force, and I was like, hell yeah! I was like, I better get caught up now. So that kind of happened, because I'll watch some stuff and then be like, okay, cool, I'll watch that later, and then I have bad ADHD, so I'll just be bouncing around stuff and forget about it. So I was very grateful to Kyle Phillips for putting me on in there, because that was one of the first Funimation shows I got to be a part of. A lot of times what happens though is that when I audition for something, they send me the audition and I'll look up the anime and I'll watch it and try to see the characters and try to do some research and due diligence. And then I'll end up becoming a fan of the show sometimes. So Full Dive, I actually became a huge fan of the show. So before I got booked, I actually was caught up. I was watching I watched all 5 or 6 episodes that were out. I found out I got booked and I was like, yeah, oh, I love this show. So that has happened to me. Long running anime that are like, oh, you know what? I can talk about this. It's nowhere, but I got booked in One Piece, and I love One Piece. Surely you've heard of One Piece, the show, right? Or did you think that was a video game?
Cheeky, I'll let it slide. Yeah, no, I never heard of One Piece. Actually, I heard of it like 2 days ago. Like briefly scrolled past something on Reddit about it. So
it is, it's like one of the longest running. I think it's been going on since 1997.
I'll look it up real quick.
The show, yeah, it is absolutely incredible. We're on like I believe we're past episode 1000 now. Yeah, it's a watch.
That even makes Naruto quiver in his boots.
It does.
I used to think that was crazy with how long it was.
It was, yeah, because it was like 500 episodes or something, wasn't it? This is like twice as long already, and they're still not done. Jeez. So I got to play some additional voices in one of the episodes. I don't even think I had a line. I think I was just like, okay, you're playing this guy pushing this thing, go. Okay, you're playing this tiny man pushing that thing, go. Like that kind of stuff. So I got to look up the exact episode and do all that stuff. But I mean, that's a show, and I it was a dream. It was an absolute dream. Even though I had 0 lines, it was an absolute dream getting to be in that show and just push stuff, and knowing that I was on One Piece. That was fun.
I actually recognize it now, but I only recognize it from seeing this dude. Hold up now.
Straw Hat Man.
Straw Hat Man.
Yeah, Luffy.
That's the only thing I recognize.
I get it, but it's everywhere. It's like, I don't know. If you're into anime, there's no way you won't hear about it. But yeah, if you're not into anime, I get it. Like, it's like its own world. You might never know about it. My sister had no idea what Ratchet and Clank was. I was like, I'm in Ratchet and Clank. I can finally tell you. She was like, I've never heard of that. Sorry.
Dude, doing this podcast has helped me understand that fame isn't an overall thing. It's like an umbrella. You know, like to tell, like it was huge for you to tell someone you're in that game.
Yes.
But like imagine like
so many people just don't care.
Okay, so think yeah, literally, but like there's so many who do. You'd say you in Ratchet and Clank, to their fans it's awesome. You go to like I don't know, the Resident Evil community, they're like, huh? You know, you go to Call of Duty, huh? It's nothing. But then it's in its own little community, it's this huge thing. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like that's just 2021. I feel like 20 years ago, the whole thing was like, oh, the megastar, superstars. Oh, it's that person. Oh, it's that person. Oh, look at that. Now there's so many content creators and so much content being put out that, like, if you're in an elementary school, you could totally, you usually would be like, oh, did you see that last episode of Pokemon? And people would be like, yeah. Now there's not really a lot of that. Now there's not really a lot of like that one thing that's like super popular. Now it's like there's a bunch of stuff with a bunch of, semi-famous people that create that content you like, Yeah,
there's definitely a rise in like semi-famous people.
Oh, yeah.
Like everyone's kind of like an influencer or something of that description now.
Yeah. How many people have no idea who Jake Paul is? You know what I mean?
Who's that? And then,
that's a bad example. That's a bad example.
Who's Jake Paul?
You really don't know?
No, I know. Sadly,
Okay, good.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
I'm
I was
aware.
like,
Dude,
I'm aware of that guy's existence because
we're big
I do
boxing and
I do
UFC
this like
fans.
I do like a boxing thing on the weekend sometimes, and of course, like I'll be talking about UFC, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, you see Jake?" I'm like, "I don't fucking care. My god, stop talk. He's winning when you talk about him. Stop
winning
doing
right
it,
now.
people."
I miss John Jones.
So do I,
That's what
man.
I miss.
Man, I was a huge Jones fan, and then he did
Same.
drugs, and I'm like, "Fuck you, John."
Yeah, and then it was like, oh, but I stopped, and we were like, yes, awesome. And then he did it again, and we were like, no, John, what are you doing? You betrayed my trust again. And then he came back, and he was like, I'm so sorry. And we were like, yeah, John. And then he did it again, and we were like, ah. And now I guess it's really 3 strikes you're out. You know, you think baseball, but UFC too, I guess.
Man,
Yep.
thing with him, he still is like considered one of the best in the entire world. But
Oh my
you tarnish that record when you fail that amount of shit, and then you
Yeah.
say you're moving up to heavyweight, and like you're fucking. Ever since he's gone to heavyweight, man, he's been a fucking keyboard warrior. Hasn't stopped once. Like the guy likes to talk on Twitter. Fuck me.
Dude, it's hard to ruin his reputation when every time he goes out to fight, Joe Rogan tells the entire world that he's actually undefeated because of an illegal elbow back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. That's his one. That's his one TKO, right? But
Yeah.
oh man, I mean, just when he went up against Shogun Hua and he wasn't even supposed to fight him,
Yeah.
and just laid him out. He made him look like a fucking baby. He came out with a flying knee and destroyed him. I was like, what the hell am I watching? This guy was nobody. Ugh. Yeah, and then nobody could touch him, man. Oh yeah. Anyway, sorry, this isn't the UFC.
No, absolutely.
But like, yeah, I love John Jones.
I'm amazed how many people like actually know about the UFC these days. Like, if we did this 5 years ago, like I wouldn't have known about the UFC. Thomas, you knew it because of McGregor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much you would have known, Brent, but it's kind of a new thing. Like,
I haven't really watched a ton recently. I kind of quit after John Jones left. I was like, I'm out. I don't want this. I don't want to see this. I got to see him live.
Did you really?
His yeah, I got to watch him live because I'm in Vegas, so I got to watch him at the MGM. It was nice.
Oh, versus who?
Oh man, I can't even remember.
Was it Cormier?
It was his big fight after. Yes, I believe it was Cormier. It was his big fight after coming back. The second Cormier fight.
Man, I know he was jacked up on that fight, but fucking hell, man, he kicked the shit out of Cormier. He beat him to a pulse.
That was what I found out.
Like, what if you put Francis Ngannou in there on testosterone and steroids and gave him a line of cocaine before the fight?
You know what's that thing you always tell me? Like, you know, like if a gorilla worked out, it would be like fucking jacked. Man, if you gave Francis Ngannou steroids, he would be like that shit, man. Fucking hell.
Literally, he's jacked. He's huge. But that gorilla thing.
Yeah.
I said this way back in the day. This is like episode 6 or something, and I was saying like because we've never like tested steroids and testosterone and blah 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 on a gorilla, and a gorilla's never been seen doing like perfect workout techniques. We don't know their full potential. Like, how strong could a gorilla actually get, and then what happens when you put them in the UFC? You put a gorilla on a diet of like chicken and broccoli. You jack it on everything.
That gorilla would murder the entire audience. What are you talking
about? Dude, you put that
it's
gorilla
a
in
fucking
there.
Gorilla, and then you make it stronger. You're like talking about like, what if I got a tank, but then added bazookas to the sides of it, and also reinforced it with another tank?
You could
that's what you're saying right now.
Literally, you could put the entire UFC heavyweight division in there. Fuck it, throw the Bellator heavyweight in there as well. It wouldn't stand a chance.
Yeah, you could give them all knives.
Yeah.
And they still would not. Yeah. They would not come close.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Give them all fucking knives, jeez.
I'd watch that. I'd pay for that pay-per-view. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. What was the whole thing with Mike Tyson? Didn't he want to fight a gorilla once?
Yeah,
he wanted to pay a zookeeper to let the gorilla out so he could fight it.
Yeah, he wanted to fight a muzzled gorilla. He'd be
dead.
dead.
He'd be dead if he did that.
Man, oh man, he's so fucking
You take
funny.
a swing at a gorilla, dude. That gorilla will feel pain, and then you will die.
Dude. Oh my god, that's I'm thinking of that now. That is serious, like gladiator, old days of Rome kind of stuff. Yeah, that's one thing with UFC now, kind of being like gladiators. Don't know how we got here, but I know Dana White said something before. Like people say there's too many rules. It's not violent enough. Like what the fuck do you want me to do? Give them sticks?
That's exactly it. Because it's like, what if you have less rules, people are just gonna die. Is that what you're hoping for?
Yeah. Thankfully, no one's ever died in the UFC.
Man.
And even in terms of, like long term like health, I don't think there's anything that bad. Like, you suppose you got Nate Diaz, but he's still fighting, and I don't know if that was like a thing that was there already.
What happened with Matt Hughes? Doesn't he have like a speech impediment thing now or something?
Matt
He was-
Hughes.
Yeah, guy fought George St. Pierre. He's put into the UFC Hall of Fame, man, a couple of years ago when he
The guy who
collected his
bet
own-
him.
He bet him, but then GSP came back and bet him.
Wow.
But you know, he has some disability now that like prevents him from walking and talking correctly, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, so I don't know. He probably got bet to a pulse, as they say, but like there probably is some long term effects with people, you know, kneeing you in the fucking jaw. Shout out Ben Askren, but like,
Yeah.
it's so new as well. UFC's only been around for like 20, 30 years.
It was
So,
like the early 90s.
We're yet to see how these guys end up when they're old, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, Mike Tyson looks good. So, in terms of combat sports overall, I look at him. What was I going to say? To move on from that, you've done a bit of comedy, and Thomas is a big fan of comedy.
Yeah.
So that's the whole spiel. How'd you get into that?
So I started in improv comedy. Are you fellas aware of what improv comedy is? Should I break it down for the audience?
Break it down.
Please.
You just go up on stage. You create on stage with a bunch of people. You play a bunch of games. You know, you come up with stuff off the fly. You work together as a collaborative effort, and you make people laugh off of the dumb shit that you can think of right in the moment, which is always fun because you don't have to memorize anything. You don't, you get good at it after a while, and then you just are able to do it. It's a skill that you have. After doing that for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe. I was doing it since I was 19, and then right around 24. So I guess only 5 years. I guess it was only 5 years. And I had a show, and I was a member of a show at the Palms Casino in Vegas, and then we had a show a year later at Planet Hollywood Casino in Vegas. Either of you been to Vegas before?
No.
Okay, so that means nothing to you.
Well,
I might as well have just said
Bruce Buffer lets us win that competition, then yeah. But at the moment, no.
Gotcha. So yeah, I was performing in casinos and doing that stuff. We had residency shows, and it was a lot of fun. When the second show ended, I was like, fuck, it took a year before we were able to move from the Palms to the Planet Hollywood after our show ended. So in between our next show, and there never ended up being a next show for us. So thank God. I was like, I don't want my skills to get rusty, so let me try this stand-up thing. So I just went out, tried to learn, like, okay, what is stand-up comedy? Like, how do you do this? Like, you see people do it, but then, I just went out to this open mic, and, it was just like, oh, okay, yeah, I think I can do this. Like, it's just people standing up there trying to be funny or whatever. And I started from there. I started in just open mics in bars and just little shitty areas with almost nobody there. I eventually got a few breaks and got into some of the clubs, which was cool because I was good. I was good at being funny off the cuff, and I could talk to a crowd. I had a very good stage presence, which a lot of beginning stand-up comics don't have, because it's like, you're trying to develop it all at the same time. I came in already being confident being on a stage, which helped me. And then when I got into the casinos, it was like, okay, cool. So I'm getting paid a little bit of money, and I can do some of these other things. And I made some friends, and then those friends had me on their shows, and then I started producing my own little shows and like little tiny venues, and trying to pack the house or whatever, most of the time unsuccessfully, but getting people in. And we did that, and it just became this thing that I did. I started getting some road gigs and doing that. And I mean, I was doing comedy maybe 4 to 6 nights a week. Like it was a lot. It was a lot, but I loved it at the time. It was fun. It was like I was climbing the ladder. I was growing. And then I started like looking at like, okay, well, what would my life look like if I did this full time? Like, what is that life like? And I started asking people, and they're like, yeah, I'm out of town. Like I'm just traveling for like 45 weeks out of the year. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't know that I want that. I don't know that I don't know. One of the last shows that I did when I decided I would stop doing stand-up comedy, I was doing this show in the middle of nowhere in Nevada, just like this casino. I was in a room, and it was like way too big of a room. You'd think like a big room would be fine, but when the room fits like 500 people, but only like 60 people are there, even though it's 60 people, it feels like bullshit, because it's just the room's so big, it like sucks it all out, as opposed to if you're in a small room and there's 60 people there, it feels like it's packed. It's great. There's just too much air in a big space. So I was doing this show, and I was having dinner, because we got comped dinner at the place, and the feature and the headliner, I was just hosting the show, the feature and the headliner were trading stories about like road stories and laughing about like all these awful events, like getting bed bugs in a motel, and like talking about like, oh yeah, that happened to me too, out in blah blah, out at Laffy Taffy's out in fucking Saratoga, Florida, and I'm just sitting here listening to them talk about all these awful fucking stories. Talking about like, yeah, I got a girl, but she's not like, we're real casual about it. I got a girl here, and like, I visit her like a couple times a year, but that's how I like it. I can't deal with like somebody that I'm with all the time. Like and neither of us can. So, and I was just listening to them talk. The more they talked, the more horrified I got, and the more I was like, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing here? Why the fuck am I even doing this still? This is not the life I want. This is not the thing that I'm doing. I had already started training in voiceover, and then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Peace. I'm out. I'm just going to do voiceover. And that was tough, because at that point, people were still calling me to do gigs, and I was turning down gigs. And it's not like they were paying a lot, but it was like I worked 4 fucking years to get these gigs and to get these normal gigs that people would call me up for. And to walk away from that was extremely tough, because I had to be like, I'm so sorry, I'm not doing stand-up anymore. I've decided. But that was the kick in the pants that I needed. So those two guys, you both talking about how I don't know. And they were loving it. They were loving it the whole time. And I was like, oh, I'm not this breed. I'm not these guys. This is not the life that I fucking want. I would not be laughing about that. I would be fucking horrified about all the shit you're talking about. This sounds awful. I'd have PTSD. And I just realized it wasn't for me. So after 4 long years of doing it, working and getting to a feature level, I don't know if you know the standard, but there goes like, you guest at some spots, and then you get to host, and then as the host, you get to, introduce all the people coming up and all that stuff, and then you work your way to feature, and the feature's the next guy before the big headliner. I got to feature. I never got to like headliner, but I got to feature a bunch, and I was like, in 4 short years, I got very high up that ladder. For a lot of people, it took a lot longer to get to like featuring and all that stuff, but I don't know. I worked really hard at it, and then I just walked away from all of it. I walked away from all those $25 gigs a night, you guys. Can you fucking believe that?
I suppose if you can live that life and you can go through it, absolutely go for it. Because you get to see more of the world. You get like a larger perspective. So
Yeah.
that's a handy thing. But like what you're basically saying horror stories here to us. Or at least from my point of view, I wouldn't be into that kind of stuff. So I'd understand why you went on to voiceover. Yeah, it's a weird one being on the road, especially
there's too many people, and there's too many people that want to do comedy now. Like there's so fucking many, and there's so few venues. It's not like the 80s where like there were not that many people Like there were a good amount, but there were a lot of there were a ton of live event venues that people could do it. People were starving for stand-up at the time. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. So then the money isn't there, and then none of it is there, and you're just hoping that you pop, that you somehow have that moment where you pop, you can sell merchandise, you get a brand and you become a name for people. But that happens to so few people. Most people are, even a lot of pros are just, you've never heard of them, you don't know what their name is. They're funny as fuck, but like,
Yeah, like Tim Dillon's huge right now. I didn't know about him for a very, very long time. Bill Burr.
I don't even know who that is. Bill Burr is like one of those guys that's just like,
took a long time to find out who he was.
Yeah. Like he found it, and he's killing it now.
Oh, he's a killer when he's up there. I love that thing he did in SNL recently. I think it was SNL recently.
Yeah, it was SNL.
And he got up and he complained about like white women being like woke, like woke as fuck. And like, you're white too, buddy. And then basically he summed up what they would do as a reaction on Twitter the very second it was out. That guy, he's a king. He's a king.
He is.
But then there's also like comedians up there at the top, man. They don't deserve shit. I'll be perfectly honest. There's some comedians.
Like who? Amy Schumer?
I don't want to. Oh, well, maybe. Okay, her.
Comedy's so subjective, though. You know what I mean? Like, some people are really good for a specific audience, and you're just not that audience.
Absolutely.
Like, I'll say that. Yeah. Not that I'm in defense of anyone in particular, but I'll say that. Like, I feel like there's a shit ton of comedians that's like, I am funny to you, alt crowd that is, 20 years old and like into nerdy stuff. But if you went and took that guy and put him into like a Boston comedy club, he'd tank in a second.
Put him in an Irish one, it wouldn't even make sense.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love what you were saying earlier about like the structure of like comedy in America. I assume you're in America, right?
Yeah.
Over here, it would be like you go into a pub. I'm a comedian. How are you getting on? Are you good? Are you funny? Yeah. All right, 50 quid, a packet of Spuddies, and a pint. Will that do you for the night? Spot on. And you do the whole town.
What's a packet of Spuddies? I don't know what that is.
Packet of crisps.
Packet of crisps.
Oh, packet of chips.
Chips. Potato chips.
Yeah, potato chips.
Oh, I know what crisps are.
I'm just making sure we're on the same. I'm on. You gotta. I gotta explain it to the dumb ones. I'm not even joking.
You saying he's dumb, are you?
Nah, I'm not saying he's dumb. But like,
nah, you are. That's fine though. I am.
No,
dumb,
I'm not saying.
Brent, I apologize. You're one of the smartest people I've ever met.
I did Ratchet and Clank to deal with this bullshit. No.
When it comes to like comedy, is there any like? Are you in a city? Could you do any like local stuff? Because you're a funny fucker. I gotta tell you that. And it's like wasted potential. Like if you could go out and just do it for fun or something, you could.
I could, but the thing is, like, that it's stand-up is extremely specific, because doing it in a bar is not fucking fun. Doing it in a local bar, or even just some local casinos here in Vegas, like, you'd think entertainment capital of the world, right? Doing it in some of the local joints where there's like 5 people and it's like, it's like 10 p.m. that we start, and you get on at 10:45, and there's fucking, just hitting open mics like that. That's not fun. That's not fun. People will stare at you. People will not laugh. You will get one laugh, and you're like, okay, I guess that's a win. And then there's casino and like actual crowds that come to go see comedy, right? That's the problem, that a lot of open mics, the people there aren't there to see comedy. A lot of people are there to fucking play the video poker at the bar and are mad that somebody's talking over that and trying to talk to them about their day. Like, right? Like, which I get 100%. The people who come to see a comedy show, that's a fun crowd. That is a wonderful crowd. I would do that show for free. The problem is that in stand-up, the people who are going to put you on that show only want you there if you're in the community. And the only way to be in that community is to be doing it all the time. And the only way to be doing it all the time and seeing all these people is by going to those shitty bar shows. So it's like I have to eat all of this shit to have a crumb of cake. And so that's why I was like, it's either all or nothing in stand-up. I feel like that's what it is. Because another buddy of mine was like, well, you know, maybe do like one show a month to just keep sharp. And I'm like, no, there's no just keeping sharp. You got to be sharp as fuck. Because all these other people are coming and gunning for that job. All these other people are gunning for that $20 job where you do 15 minutes. Everybody's gunning for that job. So me doing it once a month or a few times a month, that's not gonna do shit. I'm gonna still be rusty as hell, and I'll walk up and not be prepared and not be that good. And that's the worst feeling in the world, is when you're not that good. So the only way to be good is to do it all the time. Only way to do it all the time is to be doing it all the time. And I don't want to be doing it all the time. So that's why I still do improv, because I can just fuck around. And, you know, I don't have a script. I don't have anything. I'm real good at that. But stand up, nah. Stand up, it really is all or nothing, man. Like, that's what I would tell to anybody wanting to get into stand up. You got to be out there 4, 5, 6, 7 nights a week, sometimes doing multiple things a night. Because if you're not good, it's very obvious. And even if you are good, it's really fucking hard to get noticed. Not to discourage anybody or shit on anybody's dreams, but be prepared to work really fucking hard at it and get nowhere for a little bit.
Well, we're not at a point where you can do shit easy anymore. Like, if you want to be a voice actor at the moment, there's like how many thousands of amateurs? To get to your point, I'm sure it was like, I don't know, a war zone. Like, I'm sure it was pretty difficult. And like, same with like, you know, like upper echelon voice actors. It's just, you know, taking everything. And not just because you want to do it, because, you know, you want to eat as well. You like things that aren't just ramen.
I do love ramen, but I'll say this. I came from this entertainment world. I came with a confidence and like a lot of skills, because I believe that improv is like extremely great for voice acting. There's so much crossover. So I moved through the process very fast. Even before 2020, you won't see my name on a lot of like IMDb credits or anything like that, but I was working. I was full-time in 2017 doing commercials and like industrials and like e-learning and like all this other shit that you'll never see the light. It'll never hit the light of day unless you work for this very specific company and need to watch an explainer video on why you can't sexually harass people. Like, there's that, you know? So there's a lot of voice actors that just do that type of work.
You had to do that? Have you had to do that kind of voice acting work?
Yeah, of course. I've done all of that. Most people who come here to get to the point that I'm at in character stuff don't bother with that work. But the truth is, like, I'm still doing, like, I just did like a commercial of why people should get like vaccinated or whatever and all this other stuff. Like, I'm doing commercials and e-learning stuff. Like, I have next week, I have a schedule for like a thing that I'm talking about, this new program that they're using at some facility in Hawaii. Like,
it's interesting.
Yeah, so I'm still working in all of that stuff. Most people who do the AAA games and stuff have no idea about that world. I grew up in that world and was like, I'm going to make a living doing this so I understand it while I pursue all of the character stuff that I want to do, and while I train my ass off to learn how to do the character stuff well. And so then it all came together, and I'm sort of this weird hybrid that not a lot of people are. Because most people who do the commercials and the e-learning and all that stuff are like, okay, cool. I would like to try these characters. Every character sounds like I'm selling you McDonald's, though. So that's the issue. So the crossover, there's not a lot of crossover there. I don't know. I think I'm a weird hybrid in a lot of ways. I don't know that I know a lot of people like me in that way.
Yeah, when we finish up here, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about that, because we've done, like, people have asked us to do a bit of voiceover for them before.
Yeah.
Like, someone did like a podcast and they asked, will we do like this kind of old Irish story for them, or to play two like old Irish folklore things that I've done voice acting before. But just that kind of shit you're talking about, like you do, I don't know, like anti-sexual harassment at the workplace for $20 kind of thing. You know, I'll
Oh,
ask
it's
you.
way more than $20, man.
Well,
Like that's a because those corporations, they're corporations, so they got money to spend. You know, like
Yeah.
every time you've had a job and you've needed to watch one of those videos, there's somebody who's voicing that who got paid a pretty decent amount of money. So it's like you don't think about that person. You don't think about when you go into the grocery store and you hear the person going, in aisle 6, now we have, fresh apples for 50 cents. But the thing is, that person's getting paid hella money because every week the specials change. So they get paid every time that changes, Weird little things like that. When you pick up the phone and you have like the person be like, press 1 for this, press 2 for this. You get a bunch of those clients, man, that's good money
dude.
because then that shit changes too. And then you're getting. So for me, I'm all just like, it's all fun to me. It's all great. I love the character stuff the most, obviously, but like, I don't discount any of that.
Man's got to eat. Man's got to eat.
Hell yeah. I'm happy to work. I'm just happy to work.
Yeah, I'll ask you a bit about that at the end. That's really interesting. Because that's shit you'd never think of.
No.
Like,
most people don't.
Even at that, like those jobs that people have been. I know the person who voices Siri got famous for being Siri. Like,
right.
Probably wasn't a difficult job. Probably paid a fuck ton. But I imagine the opportunity that follows that.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, when you're the voice of Siri, like some crazy shit happens for you. When you get,
even the UFC has like a full-time voice acting guy. Don't they?
I'm sorry?
Even the UFC has like a full-time voice acting guy for
there's promo work.
And so on.
There's all kinds of shit that people don't even think about with voiceover. They just think cartoons and video games and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm very fortunate that the place that I'm wearing the shirt, the voice actor studio in Vegas is where I learned, and the woman there is not a character actor at all. You won't find her on any. I think she was like the voice of Wii Yoga. I think that's like her one video game credit, right? But like other than that, she makes a killing just doing commercials and e-learning and telephony and all this shit that you don't even think about. But I got full time doing that. And then I had my studio and I had experience and I knew all of the technology. And then when 2020 happened, I was one of the few actors who was really fucking good at all of the character stuff, but also really good at knowing how to be a businessman and how to work all my equipment. So for me, it was just like this perfect storm of like, we need really good actors, but they also kind of need to know their equipment because we're not having anyone in studio, but they also need to find us and reach out to us. How are we gonna, who's this Brent guy? Bang. And that's when it all came together for me. So shit was, I don't know.
You had it ready to go. You had the smoking gun.
It was already there. It was already there, and I was already what everybody needed. So that's why 2020 happened. I mean, and I'll tell you this, at the end of 2019, I was like, I am ready. I've trained my ass off. I've taken so many classes with character people. I'm ready to go take more classes in LA and meet people. And then when 2020 happened and everything shut down, I was going out 3-4 times a month, driving out to LA and then driving back the same day, like an 8-hour day of 8 hours of just driving for a 3-hour class. So like, it was crazy. And then when everything went online, I was like, fuck, I don't have to drive anymore. Goddamn. So I took all the classes I could find, met all of the people. And now I'm at a point where like, when things come back to normal and studios are requiring people to come in and there's no more home studio things, I'm going to have to start flying out and then eventually move there. But I've set up that infrastructure, and that's what I was like, I was ready to start driving out and become absolutely insane right before COVID. And then when COVID struck, it was like this weird, like everything came together, and suddenly people like me who'd been doing it and already knew how to, work on my equipment, I became like a huge jewel to people. So yeah, that's that side of it.
Sometimes it's a blessing, man. A lot of people have negative things to happen with COVID, but for people like you, man, like it's a blessing from above, Well, I'd say us, but we made this podcast, so it's like, indifferent.
We're on the painful side of it. We're like on the lower, the worst thing that happened started the podcast.
you have you got 2020, you got COVID, it's up here, and then you got Off the Irish podcast. Some of the worst shit you could ever imagine.
No, we've
I am sorry.
We have some beautiful people on the show. We have some amazing.
We've had some awesome people on.
I think a lot of shit happened, and and it when shit started popping off for me around this time last year, I started feeling bad. I was like, fuck, people are like dying, like, and people are like, there's bad shit's happening, and I felt ashamed, like, oh man, it's weird that like I'm having all this good luck and good stuff happen and come my way in this time period, but a lot of good came out of it too, because a lot of people figured out shit that they wanted to do. Like, this podcast is a testament to that, and I applaud that, because that's wonderful. Like, as shitty as it is, this is I'm sure a few people listen to this podcast.
We got
you think so? You think so?
I'm just joking. This is wonderful, dude. This is a fun podcast. You guys are great.
So fun.
No,
so I'm not allowed to have fun. It's in my contract, man. But if you think it's fun, that's pretty fucking cool. Perfect. Like, nice. Good for you.
Yeah, you guys are great. You guys are great, just shooting the shit. You guys are the perfect podcast type guys. Like, this is nice. You know how to riff and all of this stuff. You're not like, let me check my cards. He said something about, like, yeah, it's really natural.
And tell me, Brent, what's it like being an actor?
Exactly. Dude. See what I mean? Like, we're riffing. We're having some fun here. We're laughing.
Dude,
that's all I can ask for.
I used to do that kind of shit when we had people on. I would have like a list of questions, and if I ran out of fucking questions, the sweat was like visible.
Wow,
you know what I've written down for you?
What?
Because number one, I seen your other stuff before. I seen your comedy. I was well versed in you. I knew you anyway. I have 4 things written, or 5: Paladins, Ratchet and Clank, comedy, anime. That's it.
Look, we got to all of them.
Just talking points. And like,
see,
we've gone beyond it, and we're just chilling.
Which I love. That's my favorite thing about the podcast stuff. I hate when podcasts are too produced, and it's like, I'm editing out the breaths, or I see the edit. I don't want to see no edits. Just leave that shit in.
This is unedited. We don't.
Yeah. That's my favorite kind. I like just off the cuff. We're having fun. We're just going. To me, that's the joy of podcasts, is that it's a little bit messy.
There we go. You nailed it in one. The way it should be. What was I going to say there? Back on the voice act, man. That's something there. A little golden nugget. It might be lost forever.
Think now.
Might have been platinum nugget too. Come on, even better. Little diamond.
Think, Jared. For the love of all podcasts, will you think?
Oh my God. The pressure is building.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Ah,
I was ready to burst, lads. I was ready to burst.
Hula boss, man. Congrats.
When you first got into voice acting, how did you do it? And how did you present yourself from like beginner to amateur? Because most places only accept you when you have a reel, but you have to do stuff to get a reel. So how did you... No?
You don't. So, this is the way that people were doing it pre-COVID, in a lot of the regional areas, right? So say you lived in Ohio, right? You're nowhere near like New York or like Los Angeles or like Chicago or any of the big places, right? Or I guess Ohio's close. Anyways, you're in one of the places that's not like in a major network city. The way that people were doing it was that you go and you train, you find some type of training or mentor or whatever. For me, it was the Voice Actors Studio, and Melissa Moats, the owner. And I got lucky because we had that here in town, and it was like, come in, we have these different coaches, there are different people, all of those people working in the different other, whatever's audiobooks or e-learning or whatever. And so I just went in and learned as much as I could. And I was like, look, I really want to do character stuff. And she was like, here's the most practical thing you can do is get a commercial demo first, start working in this business. You can make a living for yourself, understand how the business works, and then start pursuing some of the character stuff. So I trained, I learned how to do all of the stuff that I did, I learned the tricks to commercials, the tricks to e-learning, because there's tricks and industry standard things that you want to do in your performance and things that you want to do with your work as you're presenting it out when you audition for stuff. I got good, and then it was like, okay, cool, time to produce a commercial demo. So there are different demos that you have for different fields of work that you want to get into, but there are demo producers who create a demo for you, because you can't get the work before you have the demo. It's pretty hard, near impossible, because most people now, it's a competitive field, and now everybody and their mom wants to get into voice acting, right? Um so and the trick is, I waited till I was really, really ready. I came in with so much, with I mean, by the time I got my demo cut, I had 10 years of experience doing acting and improv and stand up and all this stuff, but I still waited. I still waited till I felt ready, because it was a new thing. And then when I got ready, I built my studio up in my home, and I just absorbed as much as I could. And then I cut my demo with my mentor, Melissa. Then I started just finding work. I went online and I looked up all the different places that would, that produce voiceover work or that need voice acting talent. And I just started reaching out with my demo. And then I was also on, what we call pay to play sites, which are, you pay a subscription, you get auditions. You basically have free shots at all of these jobs. Basically, you have free shots at money after you pay your subscription fee, which is
I love
400 or 500 bucks, right? And that return on investment, like how well you do in there, is based on how good you are. So it makes me laugh a lot of times when I read reviews of these like pay to play sites, and people are like, this site is bullshit, I never hear anything back, I haven't booked any jobs, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, how hard are you working? Like, this is what I want to ask them, but it's just a comment on like a thing that I'm reading, so I can't ask them. But my question is, how hard are you working at this? How many auditions are you sending in? How good are you? Let me hear the auditions. Because if your setup isn't good, if your technology isn't good, it's going to sound like shit. If your space isn't well treated, it's going to sound like shit. Nobody's going to want it, because they're going to think, oh, when I book you for the job, it's going to sound like shit if I book you, right? Or if you're not good at the craft, if you don't know the intricacies of commercial and e-learning, and you don't know how to do stuff, in a way that's like industry standard, people are going to be like, okay, well, this guy sounds too raw. It sounds like they don't know what they're really doing. It's not a great read, right? So then you just get thrown in the trash a bunch of times and you don't even know. You got to be good, and you got to know the tech side and how to set up your studio in a good way, and have a great demo, so that if they want to listen to it, they can listen to it and be like, yeah, okay, this guy's professional, I trust him. Because if you have 0 reviews, what are they going to go off of? Just your audition that it sounded good? Because their job might be on the line. If they pick you and you suck in front of the people that they push you out to, that person could lose their job. Maybe then it's like, well, do you really know what you're doing? This guy fucking sucked, right? So I learned how the business worked. I learned all of that, and then I just sort of did it. And I was doing a shit ton of work. At one point, I was putting out 25 to 30 auditions a day. A day. That's 125 to 150 auditions a week. And even if I was booking 1%, I was still booking a job and a half every fucking week. And that was enough to keep me afloat.
That's not too bad.
You gotta teach me how to do your work ethic, man. Jesus, that's fucking impressive, man.
Like, you mean to say you're not putting that into the podcast, Thomas?
I mean, not fucking 20 to 30 auditions a day worth. No. I'm up there at 6 or 7 at least, but come on, man, Jesus Christ.
Well, it was my job. It was like, that's all I could do. Otherwise, I wasn't gonna eat. That was the thing. I peeled off the Lyft and Uber stickers off my car, and I was like, I'm gonna pursue this full time. Fuck Lyft, fuck Uber. I'm going to audition enough and work hard enough at this as I was at Uber and Lyft, and I'm gonna say fuck all of it and make more money than I had. And that's what I did. Slow but surely, it started building up. And then once you book some jobs, some people come back to you for new jobs because they're like, I love how well you did on that other job. Are you still available for this job next week. And it's like, hell yeah, I'm still available for next week. Are you kidding me? Especially at the beginning. So I was doing all that.
Especially
and I was
at these prices.
Yeah, exactly. Some of those gigs, man, they were paid good. And so it started coming in and really coming in. And then by the time I felt ready to pursue character work, because that was my dream all along, I was 2.5 years in, and I was like, it is time. And I had the money, not a lot, but I had a good amount of money to be able to drive out to LA and take those classes and do all that stuff. And I had the freedom because I was already working for myself as a full-time voice actor. Otherwise, if I'd had a regular job, it would have been impossible for me to take those trips out. Not impossible. I probably would have figured out a way, but like, so for 2.5 years, I'd already been working for myself. And then I got to the point where, boom, I started getting in with these other places that were like, okay, COVID's here. We need people. So then I became an asset. And I mean, the rest is history. I'll say this much. In terms of Ratchet and Clank, I got that game off of my LA agent who I had wanted. I had wanted an LA agent for a year before I got him, which was almost about 1 year ago now. So 2 years ago, I was like, okay, this is the agent I'm going after. I tried everything. I sent in my stuff, didn't hear back. You know, I met a guy who was on that roster already, who was in with that guy. He walked in my stuff personally, never heard back. Finally, during COVID, 1 year ago, basically July, 11 months ago, he was doing a class online. I took the class. I performed for him. He was like, damn, that's good. I did my second thing. He's like, yeah, that's exactly it. Try it this way. Maybe try it this way. I like what you did the first time. I nailed that second thing. I did a third piece for him because we did 3 pieces in that class, and he was smiling by the end. And I was like, yo, man, I had my boy walk in my stuff to you. You know, what do you think should I do to? And he was like, send me an email. I was signed the next day. I was signed the next day off of that. And 1 week later, literally 1 week later, I got the audition for Ratchet and Clank.
Damn.
And I got the job that just changed my career for forever. Like that, this job has changed my career forever. I think.
Yeah.
I think maybe it won't. Too. Maybe people will.
Big game.
Yeah, but it's a big high profile game, and now people are gonna look at me different. It's like, oh, you're on Ratchet and Clank. Oh, you're Garrett. Oh, wow. You're not just like some random thing in Ratchet. You're like one of the characters. Oh, wow. So it all just happened, and I'm not doing anything different other than the same thing that I've been doing. Am I doing 20 to 25 auditions a day now? No, because now character auditions take a little more time than, you know, one line of me going, at Ambitrex, we believe in you. You know what I mean? And it's like, whoop, doop, 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 send, you know? It's a little tougher now with the auditions, but I've learned and kept learning. I took over 200 classes last year or in the past year. So it's like, I'm always learning. I'm always doing my thing. I'm always on my game. So yeah. What was the question? I just tangent. I'm sorry. I have ADHD.
I know, man. Last thing I remember, we were talking about UFC, and then no.
Yeah, I think 25 minutes ago, I asked, how did you get into voice acting? And right, just so you know, looking at the timer right now, and you were just shy of 25 minutes.
I love an atmosphere where we just met like 2 minutes before this.
For everyone watching, we've just met.
Yeah. And we can already just be talking shit to each other. I love that. I love that atmosphere.
Oh yeah. This is not your one and only appearance on this podcast, man. You're a forever guest now, man.
Yeah.
Oh
welcome.
Man.
He's up there now, so
you're assuming I want to come back.
Oh. Fair enough.
I love you guys. No. I'll be, dude. You guys ask me on, I'll be here whenever. If I have time, I'll do this podcast. I love you guys.
That's why you're a king. I can tell by you.
I got good taste in podcasts, you know it.
Yeah, I've seen you other ones, and I'm not gonna name drop them, but one that comes up very high in search result, it looked a bit awkward, and it was kind of I think you're talking about, it's overly produced, taking out the breaths, stuff like that.
Oh really? I don't even remember that.
Have you had kind of like podcast shock moments, like, you know, like, how did I end up here? Because we've had it with guests before.
Right now.
Funny you ask.
Yeah.
Good question.
Whenever I get interviewed, I don't know. It is whatever it's gonna be. It's gonna be. Um, the quality of it to me always depends on like, okay, how well am I meshing with like the people that I'm with, and like also like I don't know. It's like, how good is a host? How good at like. Because if you're like, all right, tell me everything about if it's low energy or something, then it's like, okay, well, I'll do my best. I'll always try my best, but I always have
Tell me,
fun.
Brent, what is it like being a voice actor in Ratchet and Clank?
So it's
Roach.
people are trying their best. I can always identify that. Some people's best is better than others. I guess that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
It's the same in voice acting.
Yeah, 100%. Anything.
Anything you do, like it's a muscle. You got to work it. I do archery. You might see the little arrows behind me there. Whoop. If I didn't practice, I'd be shit. And if I take time off, I'm shit. Same with this. If we do a couple of weeks no interviews because we've got some built up, it's rough getting back into it.
Yeah. You always got to be sharpening the sword, That's the thing.
That's it. You've nailed it in one.
Absolutely.
And speaking of being sharp, what's the story with you going forward? Like, do you think Ratchet and Clank is going to like just put you in the right direction now, or do you think you're going to keep the momentum you had in 2021 or 2020?
I know for sure. It's gonna sound super cocky, but then I'll explain. I know for sure the momentum is gonna go because Ratchet and Clank is the first of a few things that are lined up to like release in the next year to 2 years. So like looking at some of the stuff that has been announced, it's like very humbling and cool to be like, oh shit, in like 3 months I get to talk about this, and then other stuff that's like, I have no idea when that's coming out, probably 2022, and then and beyond, because some of this stuff takes a very long time. Like I started recording that in August of last year, and like it just came out, and that was fast in my terms. Like that was pretty quick.
So obviously you can't say like, but blink if it no. We've done that before. It's hilarious. But
oh, that's very funny. I'm not gonna break any NDAs. Also, I'm Asian,
no,
too hard for your people to see if I blinked or not.
Oh my god! Only you could make that joke.
Humor. I know. I love.
When we got him with man, we wouldn't be able to see anyway. We're so fucking drunk, Irish man.
Yeah, we're on the same page. But here, okay, so you obviously can't say. But if are any of the things that you're talking about being in bigger than Ratchet and Clank? It's just a yeah or no. No detail.
It's very funny because to me, I don't know that anything's bigger than Ratchet and Clank. To me,
Call of Duty's
Ratchet and Clank is what?
Call of Duty's bigger than Ratchet and Clank.
To you, but
Resident Evil's bigger than Sims.
In terms of a AAA game, to me that's S tier. So it's like there's some stuff that I'm like, I would play the hell out of this game probably more than Ratchet and Clank, but it's still on the same S tier to me. Like I don't rank it like, okay, this is the IMDb number 245 and this next game's 122. It's crazy. I got it. I don't think of it like that. I think of it like Ratchet and Clank to me is like, that is the highest tier to me. Like a 20-year franchise, that's freaking awesome. And yeah, there's some other stuff down the pipeline that are on equal footing of that. And I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to be doing it. I'm very grateful that people want to hire me, and my name's kind of getting out there now, and some people are starting to request to work with me again. That's incredibly flattering, and I'm just so happy about it all. And I'm happy that I get to keep auditioning and keep throwing my name in the hats of all of this stuff and keep growing relationships, because at the end of the day, that's the most fun thing,
Spoken like a true voice actor.
Was that my
you're the best.
generic ass answer? That was Look, guys,
we got the same answer yesterday.
Grateful.
No.
I'm just the gratitude. I'm just so grateful that it's weird because it's like everybody says it, but it really is true. Like it's humbling.
I get it.
Who the fuck am I? I'm just some kid from Hawaii. Who the fuck am I? I'm nobody. You want me to work on Ratchet and Clank? Are you out of your fucking mind? I'll do it. Let's go. But at the end of the day, it's like, I ain't shit. So it's like anything is bonus at this point. I've somehow tricked people into thinking that I might have something in me.
I know you do. In fairness to you, I think you're a funny fucker. You do.
Thank you.
In the stuff I've seen,
you're gonna be up there, man.
You do well. So
you're gonna make it.
Troy Baker, beware. Nolan North, better hide, son.
I'm coming for you, Troy.
Yeah, there
Have
you go.
a vendetta. If you go into my bathroom, there's a picture of his face above my toilet with a big X marked out. It's like,
we'll make sure to send this clip to him.
Dartboard,
yeah.
Like people put like pictures of people on dartboards. You're like,
I have to say with Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Just all the people we want to be. We're just like, yeah, motherfucker. Watch yourself.
At least with Troy Baker, you're probably on an even stance. You could probably take him on, dude. with Joe Rogan, he would beat the fuck out of me.
You both would get destroyed.
You put the three of us on Joe Rogan, we're dead, and he's like 5'6".
Yeah, he could fight a gorilla and maybe win.
I'd give him a fighting chance. If he took some DMT before it, man, I'd give him a fighting chance.
He's on elk meat for a month. Oh, what a guy.
His probiotics, he'll be kicking ass.
All right, I know you're a busy guy. I know you got to get back to it. I got some questions for you after. But to finish up the show, if people want to check you out, where can they find you?
Hey, everybody. Find me at Brent Mukai, BrentMukai, across all social medias, even LinkedIn. I'm probably not going to respond to your message because I don't go on LinkedIn, but all the other stuff I check pretty regularly. So find me there. Have some fun, and thanks for listening.
There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth. All right, take it, Andy. Good luck. Bye-bye, and stay away from yourself.